Good evening and welcome to the studio. Well, the compressor's running, the lines are pressurised, the brush is there. Let's see what happens. I have a new bottle of titanium white. I happen to have one, which is a good job. Although I have got some auto-born white, and that seemed to sort of be okay last night. So that's a backup. And yeah, I spent about an hour shaking black paint, just in case. Of course, now I've got to shake them again because I haven't shaken them since last night. Make up your own jokes. Right. So, get rid of bits and pieces. Okay. Good job I didn't jab myself with that just then. So I'm going to just play about with this bit of black paper because it's got something on it. We'll see what happens. Just because, why not? It has an idea on it that I want it to play with, so I'm going to play with it. I don't know what's going to happen, whether we're going to get a good outcome, a bad outcome, or no outcome at all. So, one thing I did notice last night is C-tack does seem as though it's going to work undiluted. Not sure. So we might just try it undiluted and we'll see what happens. You know, I haven't seen him around for quite some time. See what happens, that is. Don't know where. Well, I can't remember the last time I saw him online. So, what happened to you, Chris? I know you were stopped streaming for a while, then came back. I'm not sure quite whether you're streaming now or not. So, I've seen the switch glasses. Let's put some glasses on I can see with, or I can see better with. Oops, they're a bit weird, but we'll get there. It's one thing you forget with this one is that I keep remembering to take the needle cap off. So, do we have... Yeah, we do. Right. Okay, so... Let's... That's perhaps a little bit high pressure. We might see. I'm just getting a bit of spidering. Spidering is when the paint is still wet when it hits the paper. And then the air pressure blows the liquid around. I've just dropped what is effectively thinners into there. It was a little bit too thick. I'm going to pull. I'm going to pull back far too much on the trigger. Yeah. That's not right at all. I was trying this last night and I could virtually, well, I could write with it. Way too much paint. Okay, well what I'm going to have to do is knock it down. I really wanted really sort of last night I was managing to do this, as I said, with neat paint. Yeah, and now I'm getting more than I know. This is not okay. It's not mixed. Almost certainly, it's just because it's not mixed properly. But yeah, I'm gonna have to knock that down with black paint. It's way too bright for what I'm looking for here. This is terrible. I may just spray that out and mix some and see what happens. Oh! Oh, blimey. Yuck. Yuck with a capital Y. Yeah, most definite why. Why are you doing this to me, paint? Yeah, what? That's wrong angles. Oh well. Told you I was playing. I can't do a straight line, can I? So anybody that's watching and thinks I'm making a mess of this, you're right! I'm most definitely making a mess of it. Let me mix some white paint. Let's get that out of the brush. Come on. Give the brush a bit of a clean out. I almost feel like using the other one, the Airbrush. It can actually handle thicker paint just because it's got a larger needle on it. Give it a bit of a clean out so we get rid of the thick paint that's in there. I'm going to mix them up. I'm not going to use that container because it had black in it. We'll use this one. So let's put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Drops. That is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6. Actually mixing quite a large quantity of paint here. I don't normally mix that much, but this is a monochrome picture, so I will be using would be using lots, and I'm kind of disappointed, and I'm kind of not disappointed, and I'm kind of pleased in a way. I'm given that I've not picked up an airbrush to use it as an airbrush for 2 years, and the fact that the paint has just been stood there for 2 years and not almost literally not being moved or anything. 1, 2, 3, and I can't remember all my mixing ratios that I used to use for things like thinning white down. I'm kind of surprised I've done as well as I have to some extent. She's not very well at all, but it's there. You know, my skills definitely are extremely rusty, and yeah, having bad paint doesn't help. Of course, that's one thing I always kind of used to say was when I try, it's like when I try a new craft for the first time. One of the things I always try and do with a new craft that I want to try is make sure, generally speaking, if I can, I get a kit, because that way then I know I've got all the stuff that I need, and it's, you know, relatively decent stuff, shall we say, in order to make sure that when something goes wrong, I know it's me and not the stuff. So, and that's kind of one reason why I know at the moment it's me and it's the stuff. In this particular case, both are contributing to this. My skills are rusty and this paint is not very nice. So whites, there we go. White's always awkward anyway. Now then, can I do what I was trying to do here? Let's see. Yeah, I can. That's better. Get rid of the blob, please, because I didn't mean to get the blob there. Huh. Well, the paint is working a lot better now. I'm kind of surprised at just how reasonable I am at hitting marks now. Come on. Well, I can't do an engine all that well, can I? But the paint's working better, it's still not there. We're getting closer to it, but it's still not there. And so we've got, we've still got some more work to do with the paint, I think. Get the ratios right again. It's not quite flowing properly just yet. I don't know if there's something in there or... I'm just getting a bit of tip dry, which is probably more likely. That pylon's too long, that's why. There we go. Do that. Come on. This is weird because I know how much I want to pull on this, on the airbrush here, and to get a line, and I'm having to pull more back. And I know what's going to happen. It's not happening like I'm expecting it to, and it's That's sort of throwing things off. That looks horrible. But, you know, that's what we're here to play with. And that's spidering, and that shouldn't have happened, but okay, well, if you're going to be awkward paint, we'll cheat. I'm getting tip dry on this, but tip dry is when literally the paint is drying on the tip, on the needle. Which is something you don't really want it to do. Because then what happens is you blow it off and you get spots of, like I'm getting on here, spots of paint on the front that unfortunately, when I'm, as I've just discovered, when I'm airbrushing, I don't talk very much, do I? Now, what I would like to get down here is quite a sharp line. Actually, talking of sharp lines, why don't I get a sharp line? Where is it? There we go. If I want a sharp line, let's get a sharp line. So what I can do is use a stencil like that. Which will give me exactly the effect I'm after. Which is that. Now then. What's the other one like? Pick that up in a second. Incidentally, this particular stencil is called the bird. Guess why? Have I got a curve that looks like what I want? Yeah, that one will do. There. Now then, let's go back to that straight one. a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, would say this is cheating. To which I say to people, do you ever use a ruler to measure something? Or, do you use a paintbrush while you're painting? Why are you not using your fingers? If somebody who goes on about me using a stencil like that, for example, and then they've got, they'll use a rigger brush, and they'll use a sergeant brush, and they'll use a flat fan. It's kind of like, aren't you cheating? You're using those brushes because they make what you're doing easier. You can do Bob Ross style trees with a fan brush. Well, isn't that cheating? You're using something special to make it easier. I'm using a stencil to make it easier. And from that point of view, people who say that just don't know what they're talking about. I just did what would have taken me quite a bit of time otherwise in a couple of seconds. And I'm actually going to end up using that stencil all over the place because I've forgotten I've got them there. And it just makes life easier. Now what's the right sort of angle for that? Probably about there, so let's do that. We're going to have a shadow from there, so let's go from about there. Like that. There we go. Now this one, it's the really tiny edge. Now even with a stencil, I'm not blasting paint on. Now, I'm still controlling exactly what it is I'm after with a stencil. I'm not stencils, stencils are, I'm not sure I like that. Stencils make things easier. They're not, it's not like I'm using masks, I guess. Mask stencils, kind of both the same, but these are masks. A stencil would be a cutout shape, which I then blast paint through and I get that cutout shape. I'm using a mask or a shield in order to do it because that just gives me gives me a little bit more control. At some point I'm going to want to switch this to black. Now I'm going to get... Okay, let's just use it to get the outline. Now this paint still isn't right, I'm pulling way back too much on it. Tip dry, okay. I did at one time work out how to avoid that with this airbrush. It always tends to be a problem with the or more of a problem, shall we say, with the finer airbrushes like this. Just because the slightest little bit of tip dry means that it starts to block up the nozzle. Let's just make that a little bit better defined across there, and we'll just lose that slight. There we go. Now we're starting to get something that starts to... Yeah, gotta do something about that engine. That engine's in the wrong place. That wing's wrong as well. Okay, so we'll be erasing those. Actually, stairs don't look too bad. But what I want here is am I getting paint? You're not coming gas it, thank you. Little tiny bits, I'm just playing with little tiny bits. So if there's anybody out there watching and wants to ask any questions, feel free to do so. I don't mind. Yeah, that wing wants to be up here, not down there. That wants to be further out on the wing, and it's too... Well, it might be too big. It's too big, I think, for the plane, but... Okay, I'm going to make a mess. Let's use this again then. Now that actually wants to come further back there. Like that. Yeah. That's the basic shape that I want there, but not quite like that. But we'll deal with that when we come to put some black on there. Now then, can I do something around that tail? What have we got here in the way of... The one thing these stencils are designed, or these things are designed for, is that, generally speaking, if you play about with the... with the positioning of your shields like this, you will get a position where it's like French curves. It fits the line that you're after. Now, if you know anything about using masks, you'll see this one's blowing. It's blowing up off the paper, which is fine. I'm actually sort of reasonably happy it's doing that, and I'm not trying to stop it. because what that will do is I'll get some overspray under the shield mask, which will mean that it's a softer edge, which is kind of what I was after just there. Now this does want to be, so now what I'm doing is I want this, I want a sharp edge here, so I am going to be blowing off the stencil. I will keep calling it a stencil, it's a mask. And by blowing from on the mask to off the mask, you get a sharper edge. Yeah, because I want a fairly sharp edge on this, because it's that's kind of the way the light would reflect off of it, and that's what I'm just kind of looking for here, is that sharper edge. Switch masks. And I got a. Yep, I got something exactly like what I want. As I say, usually with these, you can find a. There we go. You can find a curve that just matches exactly what it is that you're after. Now then, having done that, what I want to do is just lighten that edge across there a little bit. I'm not going to do any more on that wing because I'm going to paint black over it along with that. So that's okay for the moment. Let's see if I can do something about these the stairway a little bit better. Okay. Let's throw in. See if I can throw in some highlights on this. Yeah. Just adding a bit of general light there because I want to put black over it in a minute or so to just create some illusions of three-dimensionality. And that will tidy up with black as well. Flattering. Okay. This is frustrating. It really is frustrating. Okay, that's blocked. If I'm looking in the, you can't. No, you can't see it. But in the airbrush cup there, it's bubbling. That means air's getting back up inside, and that means that the nozzle is clogged a little bit, which kind of matches what I think. Let's try something. I wish I had. This is where the 3D printer that I am making gets in the way slightly here. So what I'll try to do here is just... Well, that was interesting. Other way. Bring the pressure down to about 22 psi. See if that helps me work here. trying to do this freehand, but boy, at one time I could have done it quite easily. No, that's too much. Yeah, there's no wheels. That would be a good thing to put there, that's for certain. Would be wheels. Now that also implies that what we should have here is a rail. That's about right. Okay. This bit there, that probably wants to come up a lot closer to it. What would it be? Yeah. That's too close, that wants to go away. Tidy up around there, that's for sure. In the middle around that, yeah. Okay, what time is it now? We're about 8:30. So we've been going about an hour. Can I pour that paint back out into there? Yes, I can. What's going to happen now is I'm going to switch to black. So I'm going to mix up some black in a minute. Because I don't want grey, I'm going to get rid of most of the white paint that's in the cup. I'm not going to fully clean the airbrush out. Although I may end up having to, just from the point of view of that water is not going down. Come on. There we go. Now E-Tac paint you are supposed to, in theory, be able to use directly from the bottle. I'm sure some people can. I've never had much luck with it doing that. So I will be, because I'm going to do some black in a second, I will be thinning that down as well. But let's see, let me get rid of this white. Oh dear. That's a funny coincidence. On the screen in front of me that I've got chat window on, I have Painter installed, and they keep advertising the Bob Ross brush packs, and in actual fact one of them has just popped up on screen now, which I found just a little bit funny. Right, let's mix a bit of black. Quite often when we put black on the in the brush, I end up having to clean it after that if I want to go back to white. Which I possibly, well, quite possibly, more than probably will want to do, but maybe, may or may not be tonight. I am going to thin this black down. 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to thin it down quite a lot. Now one thing you actually end up having to be a little bit careful of in thinning black down is it goes blue rather than black. So ultimately, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is it is the blue at heart, shall we say. It's a really dark blue as black. And if you over thin it, then you get blue, dark blue, rather than black. But I think it's probably a good thing. I mean, if I do end up getting blue, I'll just put some more black in and go over it again. That's one of the nice things. Is that the 411? Yes, it is. I really do have to relearn my... Go away, fly! Mixing ratios again. I'm going to do a lot of airbrushing. I'm not going to put too much in there because I'm probably not going to use too much black. Now then. I'm going to have quite a bit of light bleed from the door, so that's fine. I'm having more luck with this black than I am with the white, which is kind of not surprising, but not what I can do about that. Now then, what I want to try and do with this is just under each step there. Now this black is performing a lot better than the white is. Black has less pigment in it, but I've also reduced it quite a bit. Somewhat magic steps in a way because there's no support for them, but anyway. That's not bad. Now then, let's do something about this doorway here. If anybody's watching that would like to ask any questions, please feel free to do so in chat. It's really quiet on there and I'm not actually talking a great deal. Partly I am concentrating on what I'm doing because this is the second night I've picked up an airbrush in 2 years and my skills in it are really rusty. And so I'm kind of concentrating quite a bit on what I'm doing because I'm basically making a mess. But I'm kind of having a bit of fun making a mess, and of course I'm picking back up the skills that I had before. Not very fast, but I am picking them up. So that's why I'm not particularly talking a great deal, is because I keep basically forgetting to talk. Now, as I say, if you want to ask a question, feel free to do so, because otherwise it's very likely I won't answer your question just by the normal discussion that I'll be doing whilst I'm working on whatever it is I'm working on. Now what's happening now is I'm getting cramp in my finger, which is one reason why I like the trigger airbrushes, which is like this one, the Iwata TR series. This is a dual action airbrush. Is that not to be confused with similar-ish single action airbrushes which you tend to get in hobby shops. Even if they have triggers like that, that's a dual action. Dual action means you've got separate control of the air and the paint. So I push down in this particular case for air and I pull back for paint. And the two are totally independent of each other, except if I don't have air on, paint won't come out. But it is independent of it. And with that trigger airbrush, it is actually the same. When I first start, when you first pull on the trigger, you get air, and if you continue to pull further back, you get paint. Now with a single action airbrush, you have no control of the paint at all. You just control air or not. You turn the air on and off, and that's it. And I'm at black paint. Then you will get paint coming out with a single action airbrush if there's enough airflow to suck it out. Now, like a lot of things, you can do all sorts of art with single action airbrushes. A lot of people love them, a lot of people don't. Most professionals will tend to use double acting airbrushes, which is what I'm using here, but not always. So again, it's whichever you're comfortable with. Now I'm spraying black over this white area. It will be visible in certain lights. There's kind of no getting away from that, but I mean, I can see it here. You probably can't see it on the screen, but I can. And that should be a bit better when it dries off. Okay, so now we can do some tidying up. Now the tail here, I want to be this to be a real rim light. Which means it's just peeking around the bottom. As I come up the tail, I want the same thing on this edge of the tail. I want it to be a real rim light. Really, ideally I'd love to get really fine, and I suppose what I can do is use the mask here to help. That means I don't have to be as precise. And that's thicker than I wanted it, so let's bring that back a bit. Hello. Now that's something I've got to get rid of, is that double cross mark there, but I'm using this a bit like a paintbrush, and I shouldn't be. I should be maintaining my technique, which is air on, paint off, air off. Now, here in particular, again, I'm getting blobs at the end of the lines, but that actually doesn't bother me because they're almost invisible in the black. But I should do it properly. So, largely speaking, I've got rid of it. I might put a little bit more white on there, but it's actually like quite a nice sort of shadowish area. This one wants to be quite a bit darker over this side here. So what I'm going to do is just spray black over it generally, so that we tone down that shadow, tone down the white reflected light. I want that to be quite dim. I also need to tone down this white edge here as well. And I'm out of black paint again. That's too white. That'll need toning down, but we're not doing bad. Not doing bad. To say this was a bit of a mess. Alright, a lot of a mess. It's developing. Not bad for something out of imagination, really. Something I've kind of just never played with before. The only kind of black and white stuff I've done airbrush wise has been portraits. So, you know, a scene is something completely new to me. And yes, it's challenging from that perspective. I mean, it seems like a simple subject. It's not turning out to be as simple as it seems. But often that is the case. You get things that are not necessarily as simple as they seem. Excuse me a second, just disappear off camera. I just want to have a look at something. Okay, odd person's dropping in. I'm guessing airbrushing isn't really anybody's particular cup of tea, I guess. They're not particularly interested in airbrushing. Well, that's okay. If nobody's particularly interested in watching airbrushing, we just won't do it again. Or at least not on stream. I quite like airbrushing, so you know I may well obviously continue to do it, but not on stream. 1, 2, 3. I wonder if I can get E-tack painting in there. I wonder what the latest paints are actually. 2 years ago there was quite a few new paints were coming out, and for airbrushers or people who do airbrushing, paint is a perennial ongoing challenge. To get paint that will flow wonderful, doesn't give you tip dry, flows, has good colour, whatever that colour is, you know, good saturation, should we say. That's the ongoing challenge, and there's lots of paints coming. Autoborn was supposed to be one of them. It's not bad, or it wasn't bad. So it is not bad, it wasn't bad. It's still being sold as far as I know. It was kind of a compliment to Autoware, who did solvent paints. Now, before anybody starts telling me, Autoborn, which is water-based, actually is a solvent paint. It does contain solvent. That's an organic solvent. Technically, water-based paints, water is the solvent. Yeah, I know that. But generally what we talk about is volatile organic compounds when we talk about solvents. So, Autoware does contain some VOCs, volatile organic components. and it's a bit like why I've just added some to this paint. Some 401 Autowear 4011 reducer it does contain volatile organic components. That tends to reduce the tip dry, which is always an ongoing issue. Is tip dry. But I don't use paints where the primary solvent is the volatile organic component. I just don't like the smell for a start, and it's a lot harder to clean up the airbrushes when they've been used with those solvents. But yes, 2 years ago my favourite paint was ETAC. I just got on with that paint. It was it suited me, and I mean that's generally what happens with airbrushes. People who do airbrushing, you get a paint which just suits you, and because of you use it because of that. It just suits your style, like the way you mix paint, whatever. It just suits you. So people tend to have their favourites because of that. As I said, at the time, ETAP was mine. Now I know there's been new paints, Wicked for example, which I know is similar to another paint, which for the life of me I can't remember now. But that was a newly launched paint when I stopped. Never got a chance to try it, so that might be something that I will at some point take a look at. One time I could do vertical lines. That was at one time. Don't actually know whether I like that, whatever it is, there. Add a little bit more of these sorts of edge details. Now let's just fix this splatter down here. Now that white down that side there is much too bright. Tomorrow isn't promised. Love is always honest. If you wanna find the real deal, relax your mind. Just take it slow. No need to rush. Just feel the flow. I want you know. No need to wait. Tell me, are you ready? Right, that's not going back. Actually, to say that was a complete mess. And I'm looking at this as you're seeing it now, because I'm looking at an output, so I'm just looking at a screen over there. I'm not sure I like the terminal building bit, but I'm not displeased with the playing itself. I'm not displeased with that at all, really. I can see that this stabilizer here is a bit bright. And probably this one on this side is even, wants to be even darker. Wants to be there, but it wants to be darker. Ah, looks better. So I probably want to do a little bit of tightening up around the top of the plane here. I'm just thinking, I'm not even sure I've got the smallest needle in here. I think I probably have actually, because otherwise it's 0.45, so this I think is 0.2mm nozzle. Now I could get the mask or the shield out to help with this, but to be honest I want to practice control of the airbrush. And this is a I know this airbrush is a really nice airbrush. I used to use it a lot. It was my favourite airbrush, because of the detail that you could do with it. And so I kind of want to just get back into using it. So I'm not using the mask because I'd like to just get used to using it again and manipulating it. So I'm just getting rid of a few splatter marks. Yeah, I won't brush off. Like this area just around here to look a little bit darker. I'm just thinking, I wonder if that underbelly lighting there is just a bit much. It's a bit high and a bit too bright. So let's tone it down a little. That's there well there, it's just and I've got, well I was about to say I've got overspray here. I haven't actually got overspray, it's where it was sprayed before white and I'm going over black. I want it to be a little bit darker on this side here. Try and make sure it is dark. Now black and white is the only colours you can really do this with. You can use, yeah, I mean you could use any colour of paper and put white on it, or black on it for that matter. But what you can't do then is paint black over the top. I can put black over black and I can put white over black, but I can't do it the other way around. I can't, for example, use white paper and put black on it and then paint white over the top. It doesn't work. It goes grey. It just about works on black, actually, to be honest. You can, well, I mean, I can still see stuff there, for example. It might go away when I start to put some more more white back on again, but yeah, so I mean, if you try and do the say blue on white, for example, you then get light blue if you try and put blue over white or white over blue. Black is the only one it works with because of, I guess, because of the pigment load, because of the fact that it is really a lot of black. Is a lot of pigment. What we ought to do actually is put a rudder line on that somewhere. But we'll think about that when we come back to doing some white. I think I just knock that back just a touch, especially up there on the top. Although I ought to do some form of anti-collision light, I guess. Is it an anti-collision light on the tail? Certainly a navigation light would be up there. A white one, pointing backward. Where should it point? Not sure. But it's white if I remember rightly. Red on the right and green on the left wingtips. And from that you can then tell which way the plane is. Which direction it's facing. Ah, it's black paint again. There's maybe a bit of white in there. So now the question is, do I clean this airbrush and try some white? I probably should. Okay. Well, black. Cleaning black. I'm probably going to strip the airbrush actually to do that, because generally speaking, cleaning black out is really difficult unless I want to use a lot of paint afterwards. Too. Because if I put white in this I'll get grey, of course. Not necessarily a bad thing, but it's I'm not after no. I was about to say I'm not after painting with grey. Monochrome you can paint with grey, you know, you can use grey. There's no reason why not. You don't have to use pure black and pure white. You can actually just use you can use different levels of grey, and of course that's a perfectly valid technique. People do that. I'm not quite sure why that's forming, unless there's some sort of maybe I've airbrush cleaner on this brush. Right, so I'm going to clean this out. So first thing to do, get the air off. Strip the cup off. which allows me just to sort of check how clean that is. And that body's not bad. So next thing to do is to pull the needle. So I take the back off, undo this, nut here, and then I can pull the needle back. I'm not pulling it all the way out because there's seals in there and I don't want to drag paint through the seal. I'm just pulling it clear of the nozzle so that I can then take that nozzle off, complete with the nozzle cap off, complete with the nozzle. I can then push this forward and grab it, and that's covered in paint. So I can now clean that. Now this, which incidentally is grey. I'm just thinking I could do with a little bit of lubricant, but that's probably in a drawer somewhere. I normally put the lubricant on as the last thing. Now what I'm going to do is just take the nozzle out of there. That's a nozzle, or it is in this thing. A little tiny thing, I don't know if you can see the point on it, or even the point of it, but that point there, the inside of it is 0.2 millimeters. The outside of it isn't much thicker. Now then, is that water? Yeah, that's water. So what I'm just going to do with this is just blast some water through it. I do that using my squeezy bottle here, which generally means I'm going to get water all over my fingers, but just helps. So there we go. Just blast a bit of water through, and I should be able to, if I point this at a light source, I should actually be able to see the light through it. If I can't, I've not cleaned it. So there may well be something stuck in there, so I'm going to use the needle, because there's next to nothing, and I've got, so I haven't got any, there's no sort of airbrush cleaning brushes. There are brushes that you can get for cleaning airbrushes which clean out the fluid path. So there's a fairly large hole in the centre of there. Just caught it. I catch it right. You might just catch the odd glimpse, but right in the centre of there, there's a hole. It's quite a large hole. That's where the paint flow is. And you can use a brush on those now, but this, there we go, that's clean. I can see through that now. But this nozzle, 0.2 millimeters, it's so far you can't get any form of brush through there. You try and you will ruin the nozzle. Now I'm looking through it and I can see a little tiny dot of light. I can't show you, it's almost impossible to show you. I can see it and I'm just looking because I can use that dot of light. I'm looking to make sure it looks round, which it does. I can see a little bit of the barrel inside of the nozzle, which basically is helping me to see that it's clean. So at that point, what I can now do is put it back. So back in the nozzle cap, carefully, because I don't want to bend that tip. It's a really fine tip. It's also not cheap to replace. And I put it back here in the body. Now when I clean the airbrush out at the end of this session, I'll take some more time and clean the body as well. So that's finger tight. That's all it needs to be. It's just an air seal basically, and I'll put this back in carefully again. I don't want to. One of the things you won't be able to. Well, I was going to say you won't be able to see the tip of this, but the tip. You're not going to focus, are you? No, you're not. this is fine enough to go down that nozzle point. It's very easy to bend it as well if you drop it. Be careful catching it on things, pushing it in and catching it and forcing it. Never force a needle. If a needle doesn't want to move, there's something wrong. Now I gently push it forward. It's just going through the seal now. I can feel it going through the seal. Gently until it comes out the end there. And it stopped. Okay, I can feel it stopped. I'm not pushing any more than that. I am tapping it slightly just to make sure it's seated. You can sometimes pull it back a little bit and spin it. But essentially that's seated now. Don't want to put any force on it. If I do that, I'm going to enlarge the hull. And because the properties of the airbrush as to how fine a line it does, how well it sprays, is all to do with the shape of that nozzle and the diameter of it. I don't want to force the needle in because that will actually expand it and change its shape. So now tighten up that milled nut on there, because that's the bit that moves when you draw the airbrush back. So it's pulling the needle out of the nozzle, which means there's now space for air and paint to get out of it. I then put the cap back on. The back cover. This actually, incidentally, has got a device on it to. He says, forgetting. How do you release that now? That acts as an end stop, so it stops you coming back too far. So it's not all airbrushes have it. This one does. I can set the point, which means how far I can pull that needle back. Now that's great if I only want a set amount of paint to come out, and I don't really want to be trying to finagle it by hand. I can sort of doodle a little bit, get it right, and then set the maximum level. And this case particularly, it's hardly move at all. The other thing is I've forgotten how these pop. It just pulls out. Okay, I've forgotten how to take it off. So without it on, I can pull this all the way back there. With this on, I can only pull it back so far, and I just twist this to adjust it to whatever I want it to be at. So it's quite a useful thing, is that. So that's now cleaned out. We'll mix a little bit more white. We'll have a go at that, but I'm not going to go on for much longer now. I have some white in here. It's still liquid enough for this, so let's drop 1, 2, 3 drops of white. I don't need a lot because I'm not going to be going for hours here. Clean the end of that so I don't get dried paint. So that's the reducer in there. I'll give this a good mix up. And I'll put a little bit of 411 reducer in, which is that one. Yeah. I can tell it's that one because it's written on the side, 411. That was because you can't otherwise tell this apart from, except by smell, from water. I'm using deionized water. That's not distilled, but it's not tap water either. Essentially it doesn't have any impurities in it. It has been filtered, so it doesn't have any particulates in it or anything like that, which the tap water may. In some places in the country tap water is slightly brown, and that's a particulate matter that's in there, and that would affect the colour of the paint. And I've left the paint cap off. That's not the paint cap, the paint cup off, so I'm just going to screw that back in. You can use this actually without the paint cup. There's no reason at all why you shouldn't. can do that if you only want to put like a drop of paint in the end. That's fine. Paint cups just allow you to put more paint in one go and hold it there whilst you use it. Now I'm not going to mix any more white paint after this, so I'm going to put all of this in. Don't need to hold any of it back because any that's left over I'd throw away, so I'm just going to put it all into the airbrush. And what I'll do now is just spray some out. Make sure we're getting white and not grey. That doesn't look bad. I'm getting bubbling in the cup. That's usually due to the needle not being quite seated properly, or this the nozzle being slightly loose. That's spitting slightly. Well, we'll see how that goes. Right, I'm going to use my shield, and I want this probably about there, I think. It'll be almost horizontal. Yeah, so from about there to about there. Nearly. That's not quite the shape I'm after. That's given me enough of a guideline there anyway. I can touch that up if I can do it with this no. Oh, I'll leave that. Almost. You would spatter, wouldn't you? Now then, I would probably end up with a set of wheels. And they're going to be about there, I reckon. Come on! There are times when you absolutely hate white paint. Can kind of be. Like when it spatters like that just did. This is frustrating. I know I'm going to get a big white blob, and I don't want a big white blob. I wanted just something like that we can do something with afterwards. Now, how am I going to see this? It's going to be... Right, it's going to need some work on it, obviously. Terrible paint. Terrible paint. You know what? I love black and white, but I hate black and white. That's not far enough forward. Oh, it is. Now we will do some work with that. Get rid of some of those bright white lines, and we'll do some work with that. Right, they're going to get seriously darkened down and changed, but I'm not getting, this paint really is getting on my nerves now. We'll have to adjust those, but that was seriously getting on my nerves. What I need to do is just continue the body of the aircraft. And get some white paint to come out of here. Sort of there. Problem is trying to do the detail. Spraying this paint's fine as long as you're spraying it at sort of a reasonable amount. It's when it gets, when you're trying to go really, when you're trying to get very next to no paint out to come out of it, that's when it gets difficult. Well, we'll be putting some black on next time. I'm going to redo this area around here. It's not no means right. It's much too bright, amongst other things. What I'm going to do is just a little bit of filling in a bit of the colour there, colour white, because then it allows me to put black over and leave white behind rather than coming back and having to do white again. But it just gives me a little bit more chance. Ow! Yeah, it saves me a step basically. I'd love to find a white that would flow really nicely. I really would. Might tone that down a little bit as well. But anyway, that's it. That's it for tonight. Thank you very much, everybody that might have been watching. If you are still watching, thank you for doing so. It's easier to do portraits, but it is something different. I'll have another go tomorrow night to touch up some of this. I am really just playing, starting to get used to the paints a little bit more, remembering just how much of a pain in the neck the white was when you're doing things like this, because it just doesn't want to flow properly. Maybe I need to reduce it even more. I don't know. I'm sure it used to be better than this, but it's maybe because it's been stood for a year, 2 years. And maybe I'll play about with the Autobahn. Maybe do another thing in black and white just to see whether things will change using a different white. I don't know. So I'm going to just remind everybody about the stuff down in the bottom blue box down here. All the websites, URLs and things like that. My own website, Twitter, with good source of information about what's happening about the stream. Not a lot of information, but it's a good source. And of course Etsy, if you want any of the jewellery that you'll have been seeing pop up in this box just above it here. That's all jewellery which is being made on stream and is available if you would like to purchase any of that from Etsy, zaragonart.etsy.com. Prices will be going up shortly in there, so if you want to get in quick before the prices go up, and there'll be a significant increase I'm afraid, then get in early. Especially if you want stuff for Christmas, get in early. That way you might have all your Christmas presents dealt with before Christmas in plenty of time, without all the rush and queues and things like that. The jewellery looks better than this painting does. But we're better at some things than others. And what else is on there? Yeah, YouTube is getting stuff added. It's getting the old archive added, so I've got 700 plus hours of video which has been broadcast on Twitch. It's been recorded, I'm uploading it, so it will be available if you want to look at any of the old broadcasts. And of course I've got to mention the two buttons that I'm sure are up there ish. I think they're up there, top left, aren't they? There is a follow button. Great if you could follow the channel. Come back and see us do other things, which may be better airbrushing, or it may well be other crafts as well. Any of the other 5 or 6 or more that get done. And of course, there is the subscription button. It'd be fantastic if you consider subscribing. The subscriptions will go towards things like buying new white paint. That's if we continue doing airbrushing. Or wood, because it doesn't grow on trees. Or any of the other things that go on. So if you consider that, that'd be fantastic. And that's it. I should be on again tomorrow night, somewhere between approximately 7 PM UK time and 8 PM UK time. That's the starting time, somewhere between there. It really depends just on what's happened at work, how long tea's taken, when the meal was started, that sort of thing. But I try and start as close to 7 PM as I can. As I say, not always successful, but I do try. And so that's, what would that be in? That's it. That's 1800 hours GMT at the earliest, towards 1900, somewhere in that sort of range. And of course, you'll need to do your own conversion for your own time zones. With that, thank you for being around. See you on the next stream.